Godzilla Minus One came out this week. Maggie and I went and watched it. This is the first Japanese Godzilla movie that I've seen in theaters, I believe. I've watched all the legendary Godzilla ones except for Godzilla vs. Kong in theaters, but I want to say this is the first Japanese Toho Godzilla movie, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, because we didn't get to watch Shin Godzilla in theaters.
No.
Even though I wanted to.
Yeah.
So Maggie, what did you think about Godzilla Minus One?
I believe this has a great story. The story is really, really good, and it's set in World War II. I know that's pretty evident in the trailers and stuff.
At the end of World War II.
At the end of World War II, yeah. I really love just about everything about this film. Is shot beautifully. The visual effects were great.
Yeah.
And the fact that the dude that directed it, wrote it, and did the visual effects is the same person. Come on.
It's insane. Honestly,
I wonder how long it took him.
I don't know.
That's something I'd like to know.
I could see it almost being like, what was that one called? Is it called The Leader? Is that what it's called? The guy and the robot kid. We just watched it in theaters. Gareth Edwards. Where it only cost $80 million. Where they knew exactly what they were going to shoot.
Yeah.
And so it made it quicker to do the effects and everything because they didn't try and figure it out as they go. And so I could see it almost being faster because he was in complete control the whole time.
Yeah.
From the writing to the directing to the special effects.
Yeah.
So he knew exactly what he needed, when he needed it, and how he needed it. So I could see that honestly being a huge benefit. Yeah. As far as the movie goes, I guess it's been a few years ago I watched the original Godzilla for the first time. As an adult. I'd seen a lot of these when I was a kid, but I don't really count that. And it really astounded me and I know a lot of people have already said this, but astounded me just how fantastic the story of Godzilla is and how just the metaphor of what Godzilla represents in that time and to this country, this group of people that have experienced just the most horrific things people can experience on this planet. The way that they use Godzilla as a way to, within the movie and in real life, as a way to deal with that horror and be able to not move on beyond it, but to reconcile with it, if that makes sense. And so, I loved it. I fell back in love with Godzilla. I was already currently in love with the legendary stuff, but that really struck me. And of course, we all know Godzilla gets a little cheesy and they start doing funny things where it's it's just them fighting each other and all this bunch of stuff and
look right there, Godzilla has a son.
Godzuki. Don't bring Godzuki into this.
Godzuki.
I'm still why we gotta have a little Kong? Why can't we have a little Godzilla? Why can't we have Godzuki?
Why can't we have a
little
chibi version of Godzilla?
Yeah. Come on. We know Godzilla can get a little campy, a little silly from time to time. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the American versions like to go more that route currently. A couple years ago, we got Shin Godzilla, which took it back to a less camp approach to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Was awesome. The guy that did Shin Godzilla, went on to make Shin Kamen Rider, Shin Ultraman. Just all kinds of stuff. And then we get this movie. It almost seems like it's going to be almost a proper remake of the original. Because the original's in post-World War II. Japan's still dealing with the fallout of all that. And then here comes this fucking huge-ass monster just to make everything fucking worse, And so in the trailers, we kind of see that that's what it is. Now, this is not a one-to-one remake of Godzilla, the original Godzilla. This is its own story. Its own take on the events, I guess. Honestly, I think it's just so incredible where they decided to take this story. Mm-hmm. The main character of the film is a kamikaze pilot who didn't do the run that he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which, brings up an entire conversation of just how in that culture, especially when you're dealing with honor, having to live with that after. For what purpose? The war was ending. He knew it was ending. He didn't want to die for nothing, but yet he's dishonorable, for not doing that. And so he's struggling with just that in himself, right?
Yeah.
One of the characters has the line in it that he's that his war is still going on.
Yeah.
And, you're almost dealing with PTSD a little bit. You're dealing with honor in society in Japan post World War II, which would be an amazing story all on its own.
Yeah.
Him trying to find a life post World War to not doing what he was supposed to do during the war, dealing with everyone around him, his friends, his neighbors, his family, trying to grow a family during that time and stuff, and find a way to make a living, in a war-torn country. That alone would be a fantastic movie. Seeing that would be great. And then they throw Godzilla into it. And it's like, holy fuck, like this movie was already amazing, and now we also are just adding Godzilla. And like Godzilla slots in so perfectly that when he shows up, it doesn't feel off.
No.
Godzilla is just this extreme force of nature in this.
Yeah.
The visual effects when he uses his atomic breath, that it looks like a nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah.
And you just see the people in the city looking at that. You can feel the terror. Yeah. Just the visuals and the acting in it kind of transcends language. I mean, you don't really even need to read what they're saying to feel what is happening, how the movie progresses and stuff, and where the ending takes us. Just completely unprepared for everything that we experienced. But there's one shot of Godzilla where you just see like the top of his face.
Yeah.
From the water, and like you can see obviously his scales and stuff, but like just the top of his face, and he's kind of like doing this.
Yeah, he's like a snake in the water,
and it's so unsettling. He's moving so realistically that but like there's almost no dynamic action to it.
Yeah,
like it's almost boring the way that he's traveling, but because it is so not overly animated, it feels way more real and makes it feel way more terrifying,
Yes.
Like the lack of overproduction on it makes it feel so unsettling. The choice that they went with his eyes, almost just like dead straight on the whole time, especially like going up against the legendary pictures where they really try to humanize the eyes so that you can get those ranges of emotion out of Godzilla.
Yeah.
This does not do that. And it almost makes him appear more like a demon.
Yeah.
And it's almost showing just how irrelevant everything is to him. It doesn't come across to me that his eyes don't move because they couldn't afford to move his eyes. To me, it comes across like he doesn't have to look around because it doesn't fucking matter what's near him,
They made him move like how the people used to dress up in the suits.
Yes.
They made him, because his arms just stay right at his sides.
Yeah.
Unless you watch the trailer for Godzilla X Kong and he's like running. It's so weird.
Typically with these movies, I don't care about the characters, but this movie did such a great job of setting up every character is completely fleshed out. Every person feels like a real person that existed at that time and dealing with the same shit. It's just fantastic. God, it is so good. It's just so good. It did pass my 5-star score. Like I had very much teared up in this movie multiple times.
Yeah.
I think you even said this. It puts Hollywood to shame.
Yeah.
This is like Saving Private Ryan. And then you see Godzilla X Kong, which is like Moonfall, but Godzilla.